You okay? Brian, everybody's here that's supposed to be here? You all ready? Well, good morning, everybody. Let me introduce our partners behind us. First is Special Agent Dan Dooley from ATF. I'm going to start this way and work over. Next is U.S. Assistant U.S. Attorney Steve Carlton, our Assistant Chief from Fort Pierce Police Department, Kenny Norris, and Sergeant James Caglione from Fort Pierce Police Department, who oversees their crime suppression unit. And with that, I'll go ahead and start. Good morning. As myself and other law enforcement personnel, and I'm sure Chief Norris can affirm this, as we walk around our community, our first goal is to build a common ground with our citizens. We try to communicate one-on-one about how we could do our job better and what they could do to better partner with us. I submit to you, and these gentlemen here will affirm this, that 99% of our citizens welcome that contact and welcome our presence. However, there is, I would say, 1% who never welcome us, who always are there to criticize and who are always there to actually impede our progress. In fact, this group of 1%ers despise us. They feel law enforcement is a threat to their criminal activities, and they will never assist us in any way to make our community better. I refer to these criminals as hometown terrorists, terrorizing our community with their drug sales, terrorizing our community with their criminal enterprises, terrorizing our community with their violence and their intimidation of our community members. In 2016, there were 107 verified incidents of shooting in the city of Fort Pierce, and these were mainly associated with the 23rd Street corridor. Of these, 40 people were struck and 7 were killed. Today I stand here in front of you with partners from ATF, the 19th Judicial State Attorney's Office, Fort Pierce Police Department, and ATF, and we stand here unified against this group, against crime, and against violence in our community. Today we announced that a joint operation spanning more than 6 months has removed 63 hometown terrorists from our community, making it safer, stronger, and more resilient than ever. You may recall back in July of last year, I shared with you the results of an undercover drug operation where 24 individuals, drug dealers and drug users, were arrested out of an abandoned home on 24th Street in Fort Pierce. The house was enhanced with a wooden privacy fence to conceal their drug selling activity. That operation in July provided evidence and intelligence indicating the house on 24th Street was just a front for a much larger operation being run by members of the 10th Street gang. It was too dangerous for drug users to buy drugs on 10th Street, where the gang is based out of, so the gang set up the shell house on 24th Street to provide a safer environment for their drug transactions. After the July arrest, the 10th Street gang joined forces with the 23rd Street gang and moved their drug dealing operation to a location on 23rd Street. These two gangs are highly violent. They are connected to drug sales and trafficking, numerous car and ATV thefts, home invasions, and numerous shootings throughout our county. To strengthen our intelligence efforts, share intelligence, and compare possible cases linked to these gangs, we partnered with ATF, the U.S. Attorney's Office, the State Attorney's Office, and the Fort Pierce Police Department. This multi-agency task force worked together to research past, unsolved crimes, cross-reference known gang members and their associates, and gather intelligence throughout the community to develop a list of suspects to target. Their work on the front end ensured that each person arrested would face the maximum penalty in either state or federal prison. The result of this efforts is what you see here today, and it was called Operation Strike 3. 63 individuals who abused drugs, created a dangerous and at times deadly environment for our community, and preyed on our residents have been arrested. Over 50 guns, which are before you, were also seized during this operation. Their business of crime and terror has come to an end in St. Lucie County. With the ATF and U.S. Attorney's Office as our partners, 8 of the 63 arrested were federally indicted, and these 8 are the worst of the worst. And they are Brian Gordon, Morris Jones, Charles Brooks, John McGee, Cornelius Ivy, Onel Nanumbre, Justin Rivera, and Kevrance Corday. The remaining 55 were charged with state criminal violations. The high-level gang members that we identified and were arrested were Michael Adams from the 10th Street Gang, Onel Nanumbre from the 23rd Street Gang, Cornelius Ivy from the 23rd Street Gang, William Adams from the 10th Street Gang, Clifford Adams from the 10th Street Gang, and finally Alexandra Fuentes from the Vatos Locos Gang. And that concludes what I got to share with you, but we have our partners behind us that can answer any questions you have. But in short, the reign of terror of these guys and women have stopped. Many are facing long, long prison terms, and in reality, that's all they know to stop their terror. And with that, we'll entertain any questions.
Is all gang members, all the 63?
No, not all 63 were gang members.
Are they, sounds like kind of you're describing kind of a loose association between them. I mean, did all of these guys know each other, or some of them know each other, or was there any real sort of connection between most of these folks?
There was a definite connection. The 23rd Street Gang joined forces with the 10th Street Gang. And they did so for 2 reasons. First of all, they wanted to protect their turf together, and they thought working together they could do more drug sales than working independently of each other. But both of them are very violent gangs.
Sheriff, I don't know, do you know if maybe any of these gangs have connection with the shooting in Indian River County as well?
That I don't know. Any idea? No. Don't know. But with all the shooting last year in Fort Pierce, we can positively link these 2 gangs to most of that shooting.
What type of difference do you think we'll see in the community with such an arrest like this?
That's the first question I asked you when you came in. A definite decrease in violent activity we have witnessed in the city of Fort Pierce. Shootings are down, violence is down, and that was our goal.
How do you keep it down?
Well, we continue to work on other people who are going to fill these shoes, because that's the way it works. We'll arrest these 63, and before you know it, there'll be 63 others to take their place, and it's our job to stay on top of them.
Do you think with these arrests you've sort of, I guess, dismantled most or some or portions of the 23rd of these 2 gangs? Like, did you take down the top guys and gals from both of these gangs, or not so much?
We've taken out the mid-level managers, and our goal is to continue to press through our investigative efforts on these gangs, not only these 2 gangs, but all gangs in Fort Pierce.
So you've taken out the mid-level of both of these?
Yes.
Okay. And these gangs have been operating in Fort Pierce for
Long time.
decades?
I think the last time we took, what gang did we dismantle? Was it to 29th Street or 23rd Street?
29th and then 13th.
29th and 13 we dismantled like 8 or 9 years ago, and they are still in pieces. They haven't recovered from that, and we hope that's the goal of this.
All right, anything in and of themselves about these particular firearms? I think you said 50 of them illegal, like short barrels, modified to full auto? anything
No,
like that?
these are not illegal guns. Were any of them stolen?
Yes.
Yeah, there's some stolen guns there, but these are tools of the trade of these guys. And to have 50 of them recovered in this short period of time shows you that they are violent, that these people usually carry guns, and they use them without hesitation.
Did any of the activity of these 63 folks range like, further afield in, I guess, Fort Pierce or northwest Fort Pierce, like getting down in Port St. Lucie or in River County, or was it pretty much all of these folks were doing their business in the Fort Pierce area?
That's what we believe, yes.
Any of these guns linked to any of the homicides?
We don't want to mention that yet.
Any homicide arrests made in connection with this, or is it mainly all these guys and gals arrested mainly for, I guess, drug-related charges, or?
Drug-related, conspiracy charges, having possession of a firearm by convicted felons. However, our investigation will continue to try to link these guns to homicides now that we have the guns.
Did you see any drugs?
Oh, yeah. We seize lots of drugs.
Like, how much in general?
What do you think?
quantities, or-
Brian, you want to come up? Tell him. Come on. Brian Hester from our Special Investigative Unit.
Excuse me.
Come up to the front.
Thank you. Will, to kind of follow up with your question, there were numerous crimes that they were involved in, from home invasion robberies to burglaries throughout the county and Fort Pierce as well. Many of these guns were used and those crimes are suspected to be used in those crimes as well. As far as drugs, there were numerous amounts of drugs that were taken during this investigation. Some of the charges that you see on the boards are drug charges that were made during this operation as well. And the drugs ranged from prescription drugs to crack cocaine to powder cocaine to heroin and marijuana. I mean, the drugs kind of ran the gamut. And the drugs is one of the businesses of these gangs that keeps money coming in, as well as the burglaries and the home invasions, the robberies and so forth that they conduct. And then the guns are part of their intimidation as well.
Any racketeering charges brought? I mean,
At this point, there is not, and these charges were built individually on the individuals that you see here. And again, like the sheriff mentioned, each one of these people that you see, the state attorney's office, the U.S. attorney's office, and the investigators work very closely to make the most of the case and to build the best case that would put these individuals away for the longest amount of time.
any folks here related by family, or?
There are. You can see some last names that are same, brothers, and there's cousins, and there's relations there, yes.
Sure. You know, a lot of times when we have activities like this, we try and get the public to come forward, and that's
Mhm.
what all the people are afraid to talk. Did that happen in this case? Did you get any people to come forward and help you try to find these?
You can answer that better.
And we always have people from the community who are willing to talk to us and give us information, but the majority of times we see they're scared. The people in these communities are terrorized and intimidated by the violence that these gangs and the shootings and the stuff that goes on. And our goal, sure, we have people that talk to us and communicate with us, but they are very scared and very fearful for their lives and the lives of their families. But they're also tired of what's going on in the community. They're tired of innocent people being shot in drive-by shootings or stray bullets, and they're tired of the drugs. We go out still, and when we conduct search warrants, the amount of people that come out of their houses and thank us and are praising us for what we're doing, they're tired of it, and I think we're seeing that in the community.
And most of these cases were built without eyewitnesses. It was built on their investigative techniques, so we would not have to have people testify to be later intimidated during the trial or leading up to the trial. Okay. Thank you all. Appreciate it.